This got a Game 7 feel.
It's what you live for, and I love it.
We know it's at stake. Got to be ready.
Come out swinging.
Curry for three. Puts it in. This building is erupting.
They make a run, we respond with a run.
Put three on the board. Morant with a couple of threes.
It's a 17-point lead.
Whipped it up, and it's good.
And the crowd back into it. Shot's good. And one. Overtime in the play-in game. Big shot after big shot.
John Morant with a massive
There we go, baby.
You know, the Grizzlies were the fourth youngest team in the NBA this season, and now they're heading to the playoffs. They're the youngest playoff team since the 2010-2011 Thunder, who reached the West Finals with the young Durant, Westbrook, and Harden, you remember. How about this? The Grizzlies ranked just 15th in the league in scoring, but they stood out in two areas. No team averaged more points in the paint or scored more fast break points than Memphis. And 21-year-old John Morant led the way, leading Memphis in both scoring and assists. He's the fifth youngest player in NBA history to lead a playoff team in both points per game and assists per game. Joining us now on SportsCenter, none other than Mark Spears of The Undefeated, who watched it all play out. What a game, Mark. It was amazing. But I can't talk enough about the resilience of a 21-year-old guy named John Morant after just a, 16-point performance in Sunday's loss to the Warriors. He comes back and scores 35 in a win.
Well, John Morant told us earlier this month that he was a top 5 point guard in this league. But Linda, listen, before the game, this dude was building a brick house with no defense on him. And I thought we were going to see another one of those bad performances like he had here a couple days ago. But no, John Morant was sensational. 35 points, 5 3-pointers, 5 rebounds, 4 steals. He was the youngest player in Grizzlies history to ever have that line and the first player to have that line since Jason Williams in 2001. It was a signature moment for John Morant. He's heading to the playoffs where the Utah Jazz actually lost 2 or 3 games to the Memphis Grizzlies. So signature moment for Ja, and probably the first of many for a guy that certainly looked like a top 5 point guard tonight.
You know, now let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. I mean, you got to describe this as a disappointing finish. They ended the regular season on a 6-game winning streak. Then in the play-in tournament, they lose both games. A lot of people didn't see this coming. What are some moves ahead for the Golden State Warriors and possible changes, maybe?
Well, the first thing is welcome back Klay Thompson. They expect him to be back. You got to keep in mind that they lost James Wiseman, the heralded rookie, who would have certainly been tremendous for them in the post tonight. And then Kelly Oubre was out too, so we'll see what happens with Kelly Oubre's future. With this loss, the Warriors are going to have the 14th pick, their own pick, in the draft. And keep an eye on June 21st will be draft lottery night, where they find out what the Minnesota Timberwolves do with their pick. It's top 3 protected. And but it looks like it'll probably end up being with the Warriors and as high as 4. So some rejuvenated talent coming to the Warriors this offseason.
That's Mark Spears from The Undefeated. Mark, get some sleep. It is only going to get better. The NBA
it's
playoffs,
early here.
We are ready to go.
I can still get some clam chowder. It's early.
Take care, Mark. Great stuff. Great game for sure.
All right, take care.
All right, the Warriors will pay a hefty price to return their core. Plus, as Mark mentioned, a healthy Klay Thompson for next year. They owe Steph Curry, Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green, get this, nearly $140 million in salary. Kelly Oubre Jr., Kent Bazemore, they're free agents. Golden State also owns Minnesota's first-round pick in this year's draft, which is top 3 protected.
Fitting that it was an overtime game as the way to end our playoff push. Me, Adrian Wojnarowski, Jalen Rose, Jay Will, and Jalen sipping his tea because he picked the Memphis Grizzlies over Steph Curry and the Warriors. Took about 100 off of you, and now he's celebrating.
He would have. Draymond will just dunk the ball, Draymond.
Yes. So a couple of things. What ends up happening in situations like this, the Memphis Grizzlies, they wanted it more. And they're actually a better team. Like the Golden State Warriors have Steph Curry, the MVP candidate, But just look how deep they were able to go into the box score. Valanciunas was in foul trouble. Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't finish the game. You have Tillman playing minutes, Bane playing minutes, Grayson Allen playing minutes, Dylan Brooks playing D, Ja Morant being a franchise player. That's why I felt like they would get it done. Congratulations to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Two unsung heroes. Obviously, Jeff Van Gundy talked about Xavier Tillman in the second-round draft pick that they got from Michigan State. But I got to give love to Slow-Mo, a.k.a. Kyle Anderson.
Yes,
flipped it around, right? Just his ability to block shots from the weak side, to get steals, I think pivotal for this team. And then I got to give a lot of love to Dylan Brooks. Now, I know Steph had 39 tonight. He had 28 shots. He had to work for every one of those 28 shots. He was face guarded. He was denied. He was played on the high side of all those screens. And people at home need to understand, when you make Stephen Curry a 2-point scorer and you make him score over the trees down low, you take away the 3-point shot, how hard that is to do it entire
I got an irrational confidence question I want to ask you before Woj go. When Dylan Brooks goes to the podium and they say, who's the best defender of Steph Curry, who's he going to say?
Himself.
Dylan Brooks. And he's going to have shades on when he does this. But Woj, I got to ask you, they just named all of the youth movement that we keep saying are the Memphis Grizzlies. What did this game tell us about the way this team has been built?
Well, their general manager, Zach Kleiman, it was a clinic in the two big deals he had to make to reshape this organization, trading Marc Gasol to Toronto and Mike Conley Jr. to Utah, who now they're going to face in the first round of the playoffs. And, Valanciunas comes back in the Gasol deal. They extend him. And, Grayson Allen, who comes back with a couple first-round picks in that Mike Conley deal. But listen, their second best young player and one of their cornerstones, Jaren Jackson Jr., he's just getting his footing in this season. He played, missed 60 games coming off that knee injury. This is going to be an organization led by Kleiman and Taylor Jenkins, their second-year head coach, getting this team into the play-in last year and now beyond that into the playoffs this year. It is a remarkable building job that they've done in Memphis.
But also he had a moment of truth. And that's Jaren Jackson Jr. wasn't playing well, and he is your second best player.
And are you going to let foul trouble?
Correct. Are you going to let him finish the game, or are you going to go to Tillman, his fellow Michigan State alum? And he went to Tillman, gave him toughness on the interior in that big three you talked about.
One last thing, J. Rose. I know there's a ton of hype, and it's always deserving for Zion because what does Zion bring to the table? We need to start seeing that same kind of push for Ja Morant. And we need to see more Ja Morant. What he does on the court is special.
Ja Morant finished his shooting.
Well, that's why one of us picked him to win. That's why one of us, by the way, let's talk about what Ja did today. Okay. Too little. Bye-bye. With the floater on Steph. And then the big boy, spin back. Bang, bang, bang. And see, the thing is, he made 5 threes. And he played with pace. See, what ends up happening, you always can shoot your whole career. What ends up happening when you can't shoot and you don't play with pace, when it's coming to you, start thinking about it. See, he was moving, and that made him play with pace, and that's where he got confidence, started doing out the championship belt.
Listen, Ja Morant shot 48% from the field, 50% from three after going 1 for 6 on Sunday against the Warriors. He also had 6 assists and 4 steals in this one, and that's why the Grizzlies are back in the playoff for the first time since 2016-17. But Steve Kerr, head coach of the Warriors, just stepped up to the podium. We're going to go to him.
I think our vets had great years. So fun to see Kevon Looney healthy again. Steph and Draymond have just fantastic years. So I think we made a lot of strides this year, and I'm really, really excited about what's next for this group. But for now, really disappointed that they're not going to get the chance to play in the playoffs. It would have been a lot of fun. I'll take any questions.
Our first question tonight is from Jenny McCauley, Associated Press.
Steve, I know we've asked you so many times about Jordan Poole, but just to see him in those last seconds of that game, what he was able to do. I know there was a turnover there, but some of the shots he made and the passing, what can you say about just his growth and what he did on this stage tonight?
Yeah, he played so well, not only tonight, but, the last couple of games have all been basically playoff games, the last 3, and he's played well in all 3 games. So just really fun to see how far Jordan has come since his rookie year. A season ago, he was he was lost. He was lost in the woods, and like most rookies are. And it's just confirmation that hard work and perseverance pays off. Jordan was in the gym more than any other player during the pandemic, and he's earned this. So thrilled for him. I think he's got a really bright future, and obviously will play a big role for us going forward.
Next up is Kareth Burke, NBC Sports.
Steve, what did you tell your team post-game after they emptied the tank?
That's private. That's for us. But needless to say, it was all positive, because I'm very, very proud of the effort and everything they put forth.
Anthony Slater.
Do you view this season, wider scope, as a success, and what do you feel like you learned about this team moving forward?
I think this season was absolutely a success, Anthony. We would have loved to have gotten into the playoffs and tried to make a run. We were really a good team over the last 22 games, I guess. To put together a stretch like that over an entire quarter of a season, that's not a fluke. We were the number one defense in the league during that span. And to watch Jordan, Juan, Mike Mulder, these young guys grow and develop, that makes this a successful season because of what it sets up for next year. I'm also thrilled for, I mentioned Kevon, Damian Lee, some of our younger vets who put together really good seasons and kind of solidified their own individual careers. That's crucial. As coaches, obviously we're trying to win games, but we want to help these guys get better. That's a big part of our job, is to help them improve. And that's why the training staff did such a great job with Loon, getting him healthy, and the whole coaching staff working every day with these guys. It's very gratifying. Obviously, a crushing way to go out, 2 straight games that were basically gut punches. We felt like we had the control of the game the other night and lost, and then really didn't have the control of this one, but could have won. We had the last shot in regulation. So ball just didn't go our way, but we've had a lot of great breaks over here, over the years, and a lot of bad ones the last couple of years, with injuries especially. So all in all, you have to look at this season as a success and something to build on.
So the Warriors looking at this season as a success as they wrap it up, and not many have been more successful than Steph Curry this season, averaging 32 points per game, his most in a season in his career, and also the most by a player in their 12th season or later in NBA.